Welcome to this episode of YouTube where I've entitled it Food Possession versus Rank Order, and you'll see why in a minute here. We are featuring some footage that was taken during our Alpha weekend, and that occurred last weekend, and we did have a group of people here. Again, we're a nonprofit organization, so our membership is very, very important to us, and this is a way to honor our highest level donors, and this was a great weekend, and the Wolves did well in showing social engagement, showing that this pack is certainly cohesive in their social interactions, but it also showed a little bit of food possession, and Luna particularly, I think, surprised everyone in her ability to maintain food over the weekend. And again, you get a little excited about some things, but we did feed a deer for the Saturday Night What's for Dinner program. This happens to be Sunday morning. Apparently Luna got the deer for the Saturday night feeding program and then slept on the deer all night long, so none of the males could eat on Saturday night. This is Sunday morning, and lots of deer left. She probably ate about 15 pounds of it and still kind of feeding on it, but she's able to defend her carcass because she's on it. She is within the 1 foot kind of possession space, and wolves have social rules that say regardless of who's got it, they have that right to respect it. Well, Luna is the dominant female, and she has it, and not only does she have the right to defend it, she has the ability to defend it. So you see here Bolts, who's just a hungry little male trying to get in there and share some, and this was his pup mate who he used to feed with, and so, but times have changed, and Luna, like I said, definitely has the ability to defend the carcass. So one of the things you'll see here is, again, Denali has an important role in here. Denali's waiting to feed as well, and he's patiently waiting. Aiden's on the other side. He doesn't necessarily care, but Denali is hungry and he wants to eat, and he's been this way all night long. So like I said, we fed Saturday night, and this is Sunday morning footage. Notice Denali over there doing a little bit of a lip curl, and his ears are pinned back. That's towards Bolts. So again, Bolts is trying to get in on the carcass, and I zoomed in a little bit here. Here comes Denali, and he's threatening Bolts, who's trying to approach the carcass. I come in actually that morning, try to distract her with her meds. Well, that draws her off the carcass, so then she no longer has direct possession of it. So then Denali and Bolts come on it, and she's going to have to start asserting herself quite a bit more. And so that's the vocalization you hear. Again, she's 90 pounds. She's dealing with wolves much bigger than her, so she's going to compensate by making more vocalizations, and that's the sound that you hear. So she's torn between, should I come over, get my meds, should I come over and interact with the staff? And again, keep in mind, she's full. She has no real physical need to be on this carcass. This is all just a psychological need. And so she's driving Denali back, and she's doing some kind of a somewhat dominant type ride-ups towards Denali. And eventually she decides that she'd rather go interact with the staff than defend the carcass when she's already full, and Denali gets to drag it off and take it on his own. So as soon as that happens, Bolts comes over, and he's going to start to feed with Denali, and those two actually feed together. Aiden did get to feed, but it was much later, and so Aiden just seems to avoid this feeding conflict, and certainly gets his fair share. But so then you see here in this clip, Luna's doing a little bit of dominance. There's no longer a carcass involved, so this is not food possession. This is Luna trying to assert dominance over a wolf who's about almost twice her height. So Denali's tall and Luna's short, so Luna's going to try to do a chin rest, which can't reach his chin, so then she's going to have to do a ride up, which means that she's going to jump on his shoulders and try to put her chin on his head. So this is dominance. And again, this is not food-related aggression is different than dominance, and so she's got both. She's trying to assert her rank over Denali, but later in the morning, and this was again behind the scenes for the Alpha members, everybody's fine, everybody's sleeping together, and certainly these moments of food possession are something that we're mindful of, so that we don't stimulate some real aggressive or dominant behavior. So this fall, we're going to be watching for Denali's role and how that plays out. If Denali, Denali is subordinate to Aiden, but at this time he's kind of equal to Bolts. Maybe sometimes dominant over Bolts, sometimes not. It depends on what Aiden does. But Bolts is, again, very timid, and so we've been working on him the last couple of weeks, trying to give him a little more confidence. That confidence will hopefully help him feel a little bit better about who he is. It's tough today when this was being filmed because it was a windy day. Nobody feels good about where you are in a forested environment in the wind. That wind, if you can hear, is kind of howling, and the branches are flying, and it's definitely difficult for prey and predators. You can't figure out which way scents are coming from. You can't hear very well, so those make it for a challenging thing. So over in retirement, Grizzer's dealing with wind as well, but certainly he's got a good winter coat. If his coat is any indication of the winter that we're going to have, we better get more snow shovels because he is thick with hair. And he, again, enjoys that 3-tiered system so he can come out and see who's coming into his enclosure. And the staff tries to reassure him during these windy days to make sure that he's feeling pretty good. But for the most part, Grizzer, he gets to do kind of what he wants, and so that's a real bonus for him. Grizzer is, enjoying staff time. He's getting more staff, and that's one thing, a benefit for Grizzer is that he, being alone, it's easier for us to bring new staff in so that we can control the interactions. And he's still a wolf. He still doesn't make him calmer that he's alone. It just makes it a little bit easier for me to manage. But I essentially can get most every wolf care staff member, and we again do tier levels, tier 1, 2, and 3. 3 being the most experienced, T1 being the least experienced. And we're able to get, again, all tier levels in and have a good interaction with him. So he's got much more interaction and much more stimulus than any of the other wolves. And we've already seen that he gets to cache his food and not have to share his food. So he's got a lot of bonuses living by himself. But, he is still a social pack animal, and that's one of the challenges. It's not ideal that he's alone, but for the most part, we're managing him as the best we can, and he seems to enjoy it. Like I say, him on a windy day like today, he seems to like to stand up in the wind and kind of have it blow through his hair and catch the scents that are flying around. But for the most part, like I said, you're going to see him kind of kick back and relax on the east side den here. Not as graceful as Shadow, but still a lot of fun. So that's it for this week's YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.